Hello guys, doing another one of these route videos. This time I'm going down the Brighton Mainline. The Brighton Mainline was originally known as the London and Brighton Railway, and it was completed and opened in 1841. 6 proposals were made applied at Parliament for the rail links to be built between London and Sussex, and the railway was opened between Norwood Junction and Brighton, connecting it to the London and Croydon Railway from London Bridge. This line was extended to Victoria via Crystal Palace in 1860, with a faster line built directly between Croydon and Balham via Thornton Heath in 1862. This was the first UK line to be electrified throughout in 1909, using the overhead high-tension cables, before being standardised with the London and South Western Railway and converted to DC 750 third rail by 1933. The total length of the Brighton Main Line is about 50 miles direct to Victoria along the Quarry Line and 51 miles via the Red Hill Line. The journey we are taking is via Hove and Red Hill, on a stopping service towards Victoria, for a total journey length of around 53 miles. The unit we are driving today is 377463, using the Armstrong Powerhouse Enhancement Pack. The Class 377s are a dual voltage electric multiple unit and are part of the Electrostar family of trains. They were built to replace the ageing first generation EMUs and were constructed at Derby Litchurch Lane Works between 2003 and 2014. 211 units were built, with 28 converted from 3753s to give a total of 239 units in current service. The -2, -5 and -7 variants carry dual voltage capabilities, with the other subclasses only being fitted with third rail traction equipment. The Class 377s have a top speed of 100 miles per hour. Each 4-car unit weighs approximately 173.6 tons and has a total of 6 traction motors, with 2 on both driving coaches and 2 on the MOSL car, with a power output of up to 1.2 megawatts or 1,600 horsepower. Okay, now let's have a look around the cab of the Class 377. I'll be going over the various controls, buttons and gauges, what have you. Most train enthusiasts or simulator veterans will already know how this all works, however I will go through it nonetheless, so feel free to skip over this section if you desire. So, starting from the left, we have the master key, which is currently set to the off position. The reverser switch, you would almost always have this set to forward, and if not, it would usually be in neutral. The combined traction throttle and brake lever, which has 4 steps of power to increase the amount of tractive effort on the unit for each step, and 3 steps of braking, increasing the force in which the brakes are applied in each step. Of course, the last setting is the emergency, which is pretty self-explanatory. Above here, we have the door controls. You would normally use these if you were in driver-only operation. You can also use on the keyboard the T plus U or the T plus O buttons to open the left or right doors respectively, and R to close them again. Next here we have the DRA, which is currently switched on. We will mainly use these when waiting at red signals and or stations to prevent any accidental movements. Next along we have the speedometer, which is measured in miles per hour and also includes a speed set marker, which we will talk about in a little bit. Below that is the car length reminder slider. Again, this is pretty self-explanatory. Right is the brake cylinder pressure gauge, which measures how much braking force is being applied. When the brakes are fully released, then the needle will reduce to 0. Below that is the speed set. With this you would use the notch here, or use the comma key to decrease, or the full stop key to increase the speed you wish to operate, and press the speed set button or control plus full stop to hold the speed at the desired setting. Please note this will only work if you are drawing power and will not work if you are coasting or braking. An extra mention here to the right is the GSMR, or the Global System for Mobile Communications for Railways. You would set up your train's head code and the signal you are standing at to register your unit on the network for the signallers to track. At least I think that's how it works. I'm not really that knowledgeable on the GSMR, so I'm not going to be bothered with using it on this trip today. On the left, we also have the train management system screen. This will automatically activate when I start the train up, ready for departure. Okay, now we are going to set the train up for departure, so I need to press Shift and W to turn the master key on, and then we'll put the reversing handle into neutral and cancel the AWS test. After that, we're going to set our destination display to London Victoria. While we're doing that, we're going to go up to the DC system select and hold that down until it illuminates. Place the shoes down to get our power sorted. Don't know why we'd have to do that on a DC only unit, but it is what it is. Once we've done that, I'm going to turn the DVD and the guard only mode on, and now I'm going to open the doors and prepare for departure. I will see you in a minute once we're ready to go. So as we depart Brighton, we're going to start off along the West Coastway line towards Hove at about 1.45 miles. The line speed here is also 20 miles an hour, so I am going to activate the speed set, which I've already preset to 20. The West Coastway line was constructed in stages from 1840, with the full line reaching between Brighton and Southampton by 1889. This also includes the branch lines to Bognor Regis and Littlehampton. The line speed here goes up to 60 miles an hour, however I'm not going to accelerate further as I can see a yellow signal ahead. We're just going through Hove Tunnel, which is also called New England Tunnel and is 220 yards or 101 metres long. The other side of the tunnel is the site of the old Hove station, which was closed in 1880 and converted into part of Holland Road sidings. The whole site was closed and demolished by 1956, and nothing of the site remains today. I'm not quite sure when it was the last time I saw a London Victoria service from Brighton go via Hove. I think it was always the first and last trains that did this. However, since the TSGN takeover, I've not seen this service existing for a while. I can see we do have a red light ahead, so I'm going to start slowing down. This signal will be guarding our entry into Hove. So we've now been cleared entry into platform 2 at Hove. The junction ahead is 30 miles per hour, so I'm going to set the speed set. Upon arrival into Hove, I will need to switch ends, ready for our departure towards Preston Park. The current Hove station was opened as Cliftonville in 1865 and renamed various times, becoming West Brighton and later Hove and West Brighton, before settling on the Hove name in 1895. This has been the name ever since. I'm aiming to stop at the 4-car marker. I think we're going a bit too far, but it's all good. I'm going to open the doors and shut down the cab, and I'll see you on the other side. So as we leave Hove, we have about 1.5 miles to Preston Park. I'm only going to accelerate up to 30 miles an hour because of the junction ahead. I also forgot to mention that our stops on the line. So after Preston Park we have Hassocks, Burgess Hill, Wivelsfield, Haywards Heath, Balcombe, Three Bridges, Gatwick Airport, Horley, Salfords, Earlswood, Redhill, Merstham, Colston South, Hurley, East Croydon, Clapham Junction, and finally Victoria. The line speed is going up to 40 here, however I'm not really going to accelerate up to 40 as it doesn't last all that long. Here we are going round the Cliftonville curve, which was opened in 1879. It was built as a way to relieve congestion at Brighton from trains having to reverse onto the West Coastway line. Also now it operates as a direct link for trains towards Littlehampton. The tunnel here is 535 yards or 489 metres long. Can't see them in anything through here. So just a quick mention, the line speed does drop back down to 30 after you exit that tunnel. Hence why I didn't really accelerate, and the line speed goes back up to 40 again just about here as we rejoin the Brighton Mainline. Just approaching Preston Park now, so I am going to start braking for the stop. So as we leave Preston Park, we have about 5.7 miles to Hassocks, which is our next stop. Line speed here is 40, however it quickly goes up to 75 once we join the main line here. So I'm just going to accelerate up to 75. I will adjust the speed set as we necessarily need to. Line speed does say 90 here, however the line speed actually goes up to 90 further down. We are now going through Patcham Tunnel, which is also called Compulsory Clause Tunnel, and it is 490 yards or 448 metres long. The tunnel was built due to an ongoing legal battle with the landowner of Patcham Place, which the railway was designed to run through. The owner rejected the proposal of a rail cutting through the land, and thus a purpose-built rail tunnel was constructed in its place, hence the name Compulsory Tunnel. The line speed is now going up to 90, so I'm adjusting the speed set as necessary. We are now going through Clayton Tunnel, which is 2,259 yards or 2,066 metres long. This tunnel is the longest along the Brighton Mainline and is most notable for its castellated northern portal. The tunnel was also the location of a serious rail collision which occurred on the 25th of August 1861. This was caused by signalman error, which allowed a train to proceed into the tunnel before another train had cleared it. The resulting accident led on to better signalling methods to be developed and used on the network thereafter. Once we leave the tunnel at the end, I am going to then idle the power and prepare for our stop at Hassocks. I will then need to count 2 bridges. Once we see the second bridge, I'm going to start braking for Hassocks. So here is the second bridge, so I'm just going into step 2, which should bring us down. So at Essex I'm looking for the 4-car stop marker, which weirdly enough is right near the other end of the platform, nearly enough, making all these people walk for no apparent reason. I suppose with the way the world is now, we need the exercise. Just overshot that a bit. Alright. So here we go, headed towards Burgess Hill, which is about 2.7 miles away. The line speed will remain at 90 for quite a while, at least past Balcombe, so don't have to worry about that. Oh, bit of wheel slip. So as this station isn't that far, I'm only going to accelerate up to about 65. And I'll let you know when we need to start slowing down. So at the bridge just ahead, after we've passed the bridge, I'm going to then prepare to stop at Burgess Hill. As we approach the signal following, I'm going to apply the brakes. So I'm now going to start slowing down. Once we hit the AWS ramp, I'm going to go into step 2. And I need to stop right at the far end. Slowing down a bit too quick there. Overestimated my train. Walking the wrong way, love. Stopping at the end there. Right on the money. So as we leave Burgess Hill, our next stop is Wivelsfield, which is only a short distance up the line at 0.85 miles. I'm only going to accelerate up to about 50 miles per hour, as we'll need to slow down very shortly, as if we can even get 50 miles per hour. The site of Kemah Junction joins us on the right just before Wivelsfield, which is where the north part of the East Coastway line meets. This goes between here at Wivelsfield and goes via Plumpton and Cooksbridge towards Lewes, where it joins up with the East Coastway line between Brighton and Eastbourne. As we approach Wivelsfield now, I'm just going to slow down. An interesting point about Wivelsfield is this actually used to be named Kemah Junction until about 1896, when it was renamed to Wivelsfield. This was also the part of another serious rail accident on the 23rd of December 1899, where a fog made the signalling hard to see, and a train from Brighton hit a train from, I believe it was New Haven. However, the result of that led to further signal improvements than I mentioned earlier. Here we are at Wivelsfield. See you in a minute. So we got 2.9 miles to Haywards Heath as we leave Wivelsfield. The line speed is still 90 miles per hour. Dip 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 dip. Not really too much to say about this section of track between here and Haywards Heath. This section originally opened later when the Brighton Mainline was built. Now originally the Brighton Mainline opened in two sections, initially only to Haywards Heath on the 12th of July 1841. With the latter section between Haywards Heath and Brighton opening slightly later on the 21st of September the same year. Now as we approach this really tall bridge, I am going to start preparing to slow down. As we pass these signals, I will apply a slight brake. Maybe step 1, I'll probably go up to step 2 as we slow down a bit more. Slowing down a bit earlier than I expected, but I guess it's better to be early than it is to be too late. Now approaching Haywards Heath Tunnel, which is also called Folly Hill Tunnel, at 249 yards or 227 metres long. It's one of the shortest tunnels on the Brighton Main Line. trying to aim for the 4-car marker just at the lifts here. There we go. So as we leave Haywards Heath, the next station is Balcombe, which is about 3.95 miles away. The line on the left and right is part of the bay platforms to increase capacity at Haywards Heath. So this is the first 4-track section we've seen on the Brighton Mainline so far. Just a bit further up the line is Copyhold Junction, where the Ouse Valley line leaves on the right. This opened between Haywards Heath and Horsted Keynes in 1883, joining up to the Bluebell Railway, which then ran between Lewes and East Grinstead. The Bluebell Railway to Lewes was closed in 1958, with the section between Haywards Heath and Horsted Keynes following after in 1963. Today only the trackbed up to Ardingly now exists, which is now an aggregates depot, and a part of the Bluebell Railway by Horsted Keynes also still exists and is preserved between East Grinstead and Sheffield Park. Also now crossing the Ouse Valley Viaduct, which was constructed to carry the London and Brighton Railway over the River Ouse, avoiding all the steep gradients from building the railway around it. It stands 96 feet or 29 metres at its tallest point and spans a total length of 1,480 feet or 450 metres. While the viaduct officially opened in 1841, the construction wasn't fully completed until 1842. So as we come to this bridge at the end of this left curve, I am going to start slowing down for Balcombe. I'm going to go straight into step 2. Balcombe is a tricky one, as it hasn't really got many landmarks. It's like just comes out of nowhere. So I found this section between the left and right curves here is quite a good stopping place. There we are, see Balcombe coming up. Once again aiming for the 4-car marker. So as we depart Balcombe, we have about 4.6 miles until we get to Three Bridges. The line speed is still 90 miles an hour, however we're not going to really reach 90 miles an hour before a speed change down to 80 just after Balcombe Tunnel. In fact, to preemptive the speed change, I am going to drop the speed set down to 980 rather, just ready for the speed change. So we are now going through Balcombe Tunnel, which is 1,141 yards or 1,043 metres long. At the end of this tunnel, as I said, the speed limit does drop to 80. We've already got the speed set at 80, so we don't really have to worry, as we haven't reached that speed yet. Shortly after the 80, we will be diverging onto the slow lines, which is 70 miles per hour, and we will need to slow down for that. Once we see the feathered signal, I will start braking. So the 80 is there. There's the feathered signal. So I'm just going to make a little brake. Shortly after we join the slow line, the line speed does go back up to 90 once again. The lines do become 4-track throughout, all the way between here and Victoria or London Bridge, depending where you're going. The lines will swap over, so the slow lines will swap over to the right side of the fast lines between Redhill and Coulsdon. The line speed did go up to 90 just there. I'm going to leave the speed set at 80 as we'll have to slow down for Three Bridges shortly. So what I'm looking for our stop at Three Bridges is some sidings on the left. Once they appear, I will then start braking. The speed limit drops to 60 just before Three Bridges. So here is the siding I'm talking about, so I'm going to slow down. These sidings are not here anymore, should I say, with the upgrades to the Thameslink programme. This is now a depot for the Class 700 fleet. I've set this scenario around the early days of First Capital Connect when they were still using the 319s and Electrostars, so this section is still relevant to some degree. So the line speed is dropping to 60 here, and the Arun Valley line joins us on the left, which is also known as the Mid-Sussex line. It opened in 1863 and runs through Crawley and Horsham as far as Arundel, where it joins with the West Coastway line at Arundel Junction, just short of Littlehampton. So let's stop here at Three Bridges. Yeah. So as we leave Three Bridges, our next stop is Gatwick Airport in about 2.7 miles. The speed limit here is 60, however it goes up to 90, so I'm just going to keep accelerating. And I have my speed set already at 90. So here is the 90 speed board here. An airport obviously was not around during the Brighton Mainline's construction, and the station on the site now was just known as Gatwick when it was opened in 1891, later being renamed to Gatwick Racecourse after World War II. Tinsley Green, which was quickly renamed Gatwick Airport, was another station that opened a short distance away in 1935 to service the airfield. In 1958, Tinsley Green and Gatwick Racecourse were closed, with the latter being rebuilt and renamed to become Gatwick Airport on the site it is today. The station has seen substantial upgrades during its time. So just seen a Morpeth board for a 70 mph reduction. So I am going to slow down just as we come up to this junction here. This is also the stopping point for our entry into Gatwick Airport. Alright, let's pick up some passengers. Off the plane, onto the train. Right, now we've picked up our early morning flyers from the airport, we're going to head towards Hawley, which is 0.84 miles away. Not really going to pick up much speed before we have to slow down, so I don't see the point accelerating up to 70, which is the current line speed at the moment. I'm only going to go up to about 50 to make a comfortable approach to Hawley. I believe Hawley and Gatwick are the third shortest distance between two stations on the Brighton Mainline. First being between Annerley and Penswest at 0.38 miles, and between Wandsworth Common and Balham, which is 0.57 miles. And then there's Wivelsfield to Burgess Hill, which is 0.85 miles, just one above these two. At least I think that's the case. I could be wrong. Who knows? Get off your phone, lady. Train's stopping. Over here. Alright, here we are. Ow, my ears. Those default plane sounds. Unbelievable. Anyway, as we leave Hawley, we got 2.25 miles to go to Salfords. I think the line speed is still 70, although I think that was a 90 board just there, so we can go back up to 90. So yeah. So as I approach the next signal in front of us, I'm going to immediately apply the brakes for our stop at Salfords as the line pivots round a left-hand curve. Did I say pivots? I've learned English. So now I'm applying the brakes for our stop. Quite a short platform, this one, so we're going to go right to the end. So as we left Salfords there, we got 1.8 miles to Earlswood. I believe the line speed is still 90, however it will drop soon. Here we go. Double yellow. I believe the line speed drops to 75 around here. And I can just see Earlswood coming up, so I'm going to brake for the stop. And now the speed has gone down to 75. Forgot how to DRA then. Anyway, so we leave Earlswood. There really isn't much point trying to get to 75 miles an hour. Oh god, more wheel slip. We got 0.94 miles to Redhill. Now we do have a single yellow aspect, so likely the signal into Redhill has been guarded. We do have to connect up to 2 other units, so that might be why. So I'm only going as fast as 30 as we approach at caution. The quarry line diverges to the right there, going through the Redhill tunnel. Which I can't remember when that was built. I'm guessing it was 1890 something. 1899, that's it. So there's our culprit red signal. So yeah, the quarry line is mainly where the fast trains go to bypass Redhill, Gatwick Express and the like. So we're just going to hold here and wait for permission. Thank you kindly, Mr. Signalman. Might believe it's that one actually, but never mind. Because technically I'm reversing, so E control and tab. Anyway, as we approach Redhill, I'm only going to go as fast as 30 still, although the junction ahead is 20, so I'm going to actually slow down for that. As we get closer, the Redhill to Tonbridge line joins us on the right, which is the original South Eastern Railway towards Kent. and on the left is the North Downs line to Reading and Guildford, or Guildford and Reading rather. That was built a bit later in 1849. So anyway, I'm going to connect up to this train and I'll see you in a minute. Right, so we're back in the other cab. We are now 10 coaches long, so I've set the display to 12, as unfortunately there isn't a 10 car display. The amount of combinations you can have with the electric start would be impossible to fit all the coach configurations on a slider here. But you'd always go for one higher than your train is. Like, so I'm 10, so I put it at 12. And the same with the stop markers on platforms, if there isn't a 10 car marker present. Have to remember, it does display 30 in front of us. Oh, bloody hell, I haven't even opened the doors yet. What a muppet. So yeah, as I was saying, yeah, it's 30 in front of us, so we'll need to not go any faster than that, obviously. But to remind myself, it is actually 20 on the piece of line I'm sitting on, so I'm not going to go any faster than 20 until we've left the station. And then we have 1.74 miles to go to Merstham. Right, let's be off. So the line speed does go up to 75, and we can accelerate up to that at this buffer on either side. So let's go. So as we approach this signal, I am going to start braking, or maybe not braking, but coasting. I'm going to apply the brakes as we get to the bottom of this hill. Now, as I mentioned before, we are a 10 car train now, so I'll have to aim for any 10 or 12 car stop markers. Unless I want to have the back of my train hanging off the platform. Passengers would not be pleased with that. A minor inconvenience, I'd say. So we are stopping at the end of the platform. Oh, bloody hit the emergency there. Here we are. So just a quick reminder that the line speed did go up to 80 just before Merstham. So let me just put that up. We got about 3.7 miles to Coulsdon South, just passing the M25 below. And as we go around this curve, we're going to be approaching the Merstham Tunnel. So the Merstham Tunnel is 1,830 yards or 1,673 metres long. It was the first of two tunnels built along this part of the route, the latter being the Quarry Tunnel, which at 2,113 yards or 1,932 metres long is the second longest tunnel on the Brighton Mainline. The ongoing friction between the two rail companies at the time, namely the South Eastern Railway and the London, Brighton and South Coast Railway, over the shared use of the line and the tunnel, meant that a parliamentary approval was sought out for a second tunnel to be built for the LBSC to bypass the Red Hill lines. This was opened in 1899 along with the Red Hill Tunnel, which I mentioned earlier, and this was later named the Quarry Line. Not actually quite sure why, but I guess it is what it is. Merstham Tunnel is also the site of a strange mystery in which a lady named Marie Sophia Money was supposedly thrown from a train and killed, possibly being the first train murder in Britain. Not actually sure if it is true or if it is the first. We don't know. That's probably why it's called a mystery. Who knows? As we leave the tunnel here, we have the Merstham Cutting, which is really quite impressive. And at this bridge here is where the fast line or the Quarry Line passes over us, so now the fast tracks will be on our left side all the way up to Victoria. So at this bridge I'm going to start braking for our stop at Coulsdon South. Also on this right hand curve, the line speed does drop back down to 75. Unfortunately, this station only has an 8 car stop marker, so not sure if the whole train will fit. Nonetheless, we're going to stop right at the end. There we go. So the next stop is Purley, which is 1.85 miles away. The speed has dropped to 75, although it does go up to 80 again, which is almost pointless as the line speed will drop to 60 just before Purley. As we come up towards here, we reach the old site of Stoats Nest and Cane Hill Station, which opened in 1899. This was renamed 4 times throughout its use, becoming Coulsdon and Smitham Downs, Coulsdon West and then Coulsdon North, before it closed in 1983. All what remains of the station in close proximity was Smitham, which was built in 1904 on the Tattenham Corner branch. This was later renamed to Coulsdon Town in 2011. I believe the station was built to serve a mental hospital. Not quite sure on that one, I might have to do more research. Reedham Station is on the left, which is also on the Tattenham Corner branch. As we go under that signal gantry, I'm going to brake for Purley. Upon arrival at Purley, the Caterham and Tattenham Corner lines join us here on the right side. These were opened in 1857 and 1897 respectively. Also, as we enter Purley, the line speed has dropped to 60. Blasted emergency again. So now leaving Purley, we're now going to run semi-fast to East Croydon, skipping 2 intermediate stations, which is about 2.8 miles away. The line speed is 60 and will remain at that until shortly after South Croydon, where it will drop to about 45. So now all that's left to do is sit back and enjoy. Now passing Purley Oak Station. Bit of lag there. So as we approach South Croydon, the Oxted line joins here on the right side, which opened in 1884. Currently it runs towards East Grinstead and Uckfield, with the former being electrified since 1987. The section between Hurst Green and Uckfield is not currently electrified and is run using diesel traction, namely the Class 171 Turbostars currently. This is one of 2 unelectrified lines that Southern currently operates, with the other being the Marshlink line between Hastings and Ashford International. Got a warning for 45, so I'm going to go straight into braking. Had kind of a half-assed AWS warning there. So the train on our left there, that's the Brighton Fast, which caught up to us pretty quickly. Here at East Croydon, I'm going to try and find the 10 car stop marker. This station actually has one. And I'm going to stop there, for obvious reasons. Come on. Don't hit that emergency. Right, there we go. All good. So the race is on. As we depart Croydon, we got 7.7 miles to Clapham Junction. The line speed is currently 45. Chances are we're going to be waiting to join the fast line because this one wants to hog all the bloody glory. So here we do have the double yellow aspect. My suspicions are correct. Up here the line speed drops to 40, so just going to put the speed down a bit. And also there's this single yellow. So I'm going to start braking. The line splits up here with the part to the right heading towards London Bridge. And below us the Sutton and Mole Valley lines join up here on my left. This also can run to London Bridge or Victoria. It has junctions for both. So just approaching this red light, just going to hold off till we're allowed, and there we go. So the line speed across the junction ahead onto the fast line is 30, so not going to go any faster. Again, for obvious reasons. Got Selhurst Depot on the right, just as we passed Selhurst Station. So as we do join the main line, we can go up to 70 miles per hour now. Also have to bear in mind that there was a double yellow aspect there, so we might end up chasing yellows. However, it did go green just as we passed it, so we'll see what happens. So now passing through Thornton Heath. Bounce. Anyway, now passing through Norbury Station, and that double yellow has in fact snuck up on us again. So better keep my eye open, or eyes be better. So what I'm actually going to do as we approach this next double yellow aspects. I'm going to start slowing down to 60, as the line speed will be changing to 60 shortly. So I figured I might as well be a bit preemptive. Streatham Common is also a junction station with the slow lines on the right heading up towards Streatham Station, which is part of the Sutton and Mole Valley line. This is primarily used by the Thameslink services that go along the Sutton Loop through Tulse Hill and Herne Hill towards St Albans, and also for Southern services that operate between West Croydon and London Bridge. Sutton and Mole Valley lines mainly see services towards Epsom and Epsom Downs, although the latter part usually runs via West Croydon further up, where we joined at Selhurst. Lag. So just going around the curve here, we are going to have the Streatham Hill line joining us here on the right, which is part of the original route from Norwood to Victoria back in 1860. As we pass through Balham Station, which is also part of the Northern Line on the London Underground. And just that short distance is Wandsworth Common Station. So I'm going to start slowing down after that double yellow aspect. The signal spacing is a bit closer together as you get closer to London, so I have to be aware of that. And we do have a single yellow ahead now. Have to assume the next one is displaying red, so I am preparing to stop. Train likes to bounce about a bit, doesn't it? So now we are cleared into Clapham Junction platform. Platform 11, no, platform 12, that's the one. Clapham Junction is Britain's busiest train station, or even Europe's busiest train station. and mostly it sees more interchanges than entries and exits. In the peak times it can see up to 180 trains an hour. That's an average of one train every 30 seconds. Crazy! Right, let's just have a stop here. Right, time to go to Victoria. We're now on the final stretch into London now, with the line speed dropping down to 45 in just a bit. I'm not going to accelerate up to 60. Going to run about parallel to the southwestern main line for a while, just before the Stewart's Lane junction, I believe. Shut up. Yeah, so there's about 2.25 miles to Victoria from when we started. It's only a short hop. And I'm speeding. Too busy talking. So branching off to the left there, that junction heads towards Stewart's Lane Depot. As we are now on the curve to cross over the southwestern main line. So we have Queenstown Road just down to our right side on the southwestern main line as we cross over, and we are about to approach Battersea Park, which has since been renovated to lengthen the platforms on the slow line, and as a result of this the platforms on the far right have been turned into a terminus, as it were. This is only now served by certain trains by London Overground. However, it still exists. Yeah, the platform still exists for the purposes of this scenario. And as we cross over to the slow lines here, we're going to be seeing the southeastern portion joining up on our right, which is the Chatham main line. Funny enough, going towards Chatham. At that double yellow signal ahead of us, the line speed does drop to 40. And then it will drop to 20 shortly after. So I'm actually just going to start slowing down. So the line speed there has dropped to 20 as we cruise into Victoria.
as we're on our final approach, probably should make up my mind what I'm going to do next. Maybe something on the Great Western Mainline, I haven't really decided. Not sure where Victoria stands on the busiest of London train stations. I know Waterloo is one of the first. I think Victoria is probably the third or fourth, not quite sure. Anyway, as we come in, making our slow approach to terminate at Victoria, I'd just like to thank all the fellow YouTubers and simulator creators for giving me the inspiration to do these sort of videos. Also, lockdown has made me incredibly bored. But hopefully, despite if we do come out, when we do come out, remain optimistic. I will continue to do these sort of things. Quite enjoyable. Anyway, now we have terminated. Thank you guys for watching, if you have enjoyed. And I'll see you all in the next one. Take care.